Alright, so let me know a little bit about your background in draft.
Well,
Like recently
let's say
started
you
playing, right?
can. Yeah, I started back in August, probably when the last Usum Cup dropped on Smogon, and I just fell in love with draft. It's been such joy. I've met a lot of people. It's the most I've enjoyed Pokemon like ever. Never gotten into competitive until I started playing draft. I just love how compact every matchup feels. Like different from standard play. You just know what are you beating, and it's on you to figure out how to beat it before you start the game, as opposed to some matchup variants that could come up in standard tournaments. I've been in a couple of Smogon tours, a couple of community run tours. It's been just a really fun time. But I've also recognized that I still have a lot of room to grow.
Of course,
So that's
everyone
why
does.
what I'm working.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let's see. You wanted to go over your low tier pools games as some like replay
Yeah.
analysis stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I
so
just yeah,
I
go
have
on.
the matchups on screen right now. You did make it out of pools, but obviously
Yeah.
not undefeated. So we'll take a look at some of these games, see what went well, what didn't go well, what could have been a little bit better. Anything like particular matchups that were good or bad here? What do you think?
Um I felt well, the game I lost, I mean, I felt like I really had a really rough matchup, specifically onto a Grosselimon. That my most concern while drafting this team onto Psychic types were the top two on Gallade and Gardevoir. But Crossley was just maybe not in my radar, so defensive CM Moonlight Psyshock Moonblast just shut down most of my team, and I really couldn't find a way through that one like at all. I kinda um, tried Future Sight into close combat spam. Didn't quite work out because we can see in the game I kinda threw, but
Okay.
that was like probably the best I could find. Maybe there was some other stuff. I was also running a trapping Vaporeon, but that maybe was a little bit silly.
Like trying to trap what
Either
specifically the
Clodsire
melodic?
because yeah, Clodsire, Cresselia, Milotic either was fine because Clodsire I really doubted could afford a water absorb here. And if that was the case, maybe I had another shot, but not really into what I brought. But I really doubted it could fit it against me with a Reverum, a Bravery, etc.
Sure, we can look at that one first, which I believe is this here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was benched here? We've got um, Regigigas and Salazzle, looks like. No, Salazzle's here. What's else benched? Persian, maybe?
It was
Yeah,
Persian.
Persian.
Yeah, Persian was benched.
Alright, so your idea
So
was Future Sight plus
I
CC.
mean, my first idea on lead was dedicated lead to trick a sticky barb on whatever I could do with Persian, because that
Okay.
just felt good value. Either Tinkton, Melodic. My general game plan was just to break with Hisuian Bravery, which was not the best set on hindsight. But it was few to sight onto U-turn onto banded close combat and pray I hit. That combo
Yeah.
killed the Cresselia, even not terrestrializing after 2cc, and then I just break through with every other man.
Yeah, so tinted lens on the Future Sight, I would
Yeah,
guess. That's the only way to get that
yeah,
through Cresselia.
yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Alright, let's take a look at the game. So it looks like Terra Dark on both of the bulky
Yeah,
guys.
I figured that was most likely just being scared of psychic spam, which does look
Mm-hmm.
really good with tinted lens.
Yeah, it makes sense
It
here.
just yeah. So
Oh, this is
Cresselia
really
was
nice.
probably the best hit I could get, because that's
Mm-hmm.
the roughest part of the matchup. This game ends up being somewhat in my favor at the beginning, but I really think it was mainly due to them leading the Cresselia and let it. I'm basically fishing for a weakness policy proc.
Yeah, so this Sticky Barb is really impactful. We like that, and
Yeah,
Taunt as well. Yeah, this is great. Good start. And now threatening a Moonblast, so we're gonna pivot to Braviary.
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't fully like this play. My plan was to, with bravery, I could maybe switch. I mean, force them to Terra, because that could have been nice for them not to have Terra on Cloudsire. But on hindsight, it was better to have to switch to my Reverum, because I had also Taunt Parting Shot. I resisted the obvious Moonblast coming in. A slight misplay, but I could have still played it out.
Yeah, I think you still have good options here with Braviary. I don't hate the Braviary switch on Moonblast. It doesn't do anything anyways, like 26% is fine. And you do have a free U-turn here.
Yeah.
I think U-turn pretty safe. Either Terra's or he switches. So yeah, of course U-turn on the Claude. And now Donphan comes in for free rocks and forces the Terra on Clodsire, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So
Nothing
now,
to say much. I just like the how Rocks felt this game.
yeah, rocks are nice. Always worth getting up. So now, what do you notice about the Terra Dark? What does that enable on your team?
Oh, for sure, my
The
win con, my
Lilligant, right?
Mat just looks so much better with Cresselia basically dead to it.
Yeah.
Clodsire, they just don't have any resist. Salazzle just
Mm-hmm.
pops.
So you have Lilligant with U-turn Braviary, U-turn Persian, and Parting Shot Revroom. It should be pretty
Yeah,
easy to get many opportunities with it. So let's see what kind of sequences can you look for to get that Lilligant in as much as possible. Because right now, as long as you get the Lilligant on the field, it should be a pretty easy game from here on out. Like, he's already
I
weakened himself
agree.
so much to it. So how could you do that? Could be... what right now? I don't know, the Clotsar is kind of fat and annoying. Does switch to Cresselia, so that's nice. As you roar, so even more chip. Salazzle reveals no boots. This
Yeah,
is probably just a free Vaporeon. We see an Encore. Are you like Spadef Dawn fan to allow you to make that play? That would make a little
yeah,
bit of sense.
yeah. It was. I basically didn't die to it. It scouted for either an over predict on toxic, on sub. I clicked EQ
Mhm.
there. But obviously the anchor, I didn't really care that much about my Donphan HP this matchup, which might have been a mistake, but I just felt like EQ was kind of safe there if they wanted to stay in.
Yeah, I don't hate that. One thing that you can notice though is you roar out into the Salazzle. It takes rocks and there's no leftovers, so the chance of it being like sub-toxic is really low right now.
Oh,
The only reason
yeah.
why I'd be maybe hesitant to go to Vaporeon is if you're fearing like a switcheroo scarf kind of thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think going Vaporeon is really safe here. But either way, Encore on Roar, don't hate that. Now Claude is in though, and Claude is kind of annoying. And now we get Lilligant in on Cyclizar, but Cyclizar forces us out. Oh,
Yeah,
we do not respect
and
the
I
overheat.
not at all. That was, well, I kind of what I was talking about. I just threw this matchup.
Yeah,
I was not. I, I, I didn't have it on my calc. I was thinking about other things, like trying to figure out the matchup. I was like, okay, I don't die even if it's max special adapt Draco, so should be fine. If they U-turn, I just kill them on. And I was just thinking maybe a little bit too far ahead and not focusing on the turn right now. I
maybe.
didn't need to stay in.
No,
Yeah,
definitely. This is like the one Pokemon that Well, I guess the two Pokemon, Salazzle and Cyclizar, are the two Pokemon that actually threaten Lilligant. The other Pokemon are all just sitting ducks. So taking this trade is, even if it does like Draco you down to like 1 HP and you kill it back, that's still not a fantastic trade for you, I don't think.
Yeah.
So here, like, definitely Vaporeon was a much safer play.
Yeah, in hindsight,
Yeah.
that game, that play was just game losing from there on out. I lose my main damage
I think so
dealer.
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's eject pack as well.
Yeah.
Alright, Tigaton in to threaten Rocks Up, Revavroom in, and Bulldoze actually. Does quite a lot of damage as you taunt. That's going to be a clean to it KO. Now Vaporeon comes in, but this gives up a free Rapid Spin, which, to be honest, you couldn't avoid anyways at this point. Now, does it have U-turn? Probably not, because it's... I guess it does.
Yeah. My thought process was them not having U-turn. If they didn't, I just could stall it out. I do click Whirlpool once again in case they have U-turn, because I don't really have that much better clicks either way. But yeah.
Yeah, I would have expected like Draco knock on a set like that, but he has U-turn. All good.
No.
And the cycles are just going to keep coming in repeatedly, and yeah, not a whole lot you can do at this point.
I'm honestly quite a bit tilted because throwing away my Wincon was not nice. And I'm not really that focused. I don't play really that well.
No, this is a very lost position already. I think the Lilligant was like so necessary for this.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, fake tears, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
For specifically Glutsire, but yeah, it was supposed to kill it for my Lilligant, so losing it makes the tech not really worth it. Yeah, from here on out, I just lose.
Yeah. It's a hypnosis, just salt in the wound, I guess. But yeah, this is cooked. Alright.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just that Lilligant turn, to be honest. The rest of the early game was pretty reasonable, and after that, you didn't really have the tools to win, so I don't really mind too much about that.
My issue with this matchup and why I wanted to review it a bit is because I think it all comes down to turn one. Without turn one tricking that sticky barb, I think they didn't have to even lead Cresselia.
Yeah, they didn't have to. It's like, what else could you have done into Cress?
Yeah, like in general, in prep, like what could I
guess not this one, but here. So in prep, when I look at this, I'm seeing a lot of like fat garbage, right? Clodsire, Cresselia, Milotic. These are all Pokemon that are very weak to Trick in general. So obviously you recognize that, brought Trick Sticky Barb, which I think is a good lead. But I also maybe would have considered like a Scarf Trick on Rotom, for example. I think that would have also been a very strong pick into this. But that being said, Rotom Heat, not exactly the strongest Pokemon by itself. So it's really just for the trick value there. Maybe not worth it. In terms of anything else, the Vaporeon's like a cute idea. I like that, actually. The fake tears, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well, your team is just kind of weak to bulky psychics in general. You have to like trick it, I think.
Yeah.
Either that, like, or maybe your Hisuian Braviary has to like Terra for it, which you had Terra Ghost, obviously, to hit the psychic, but it Terra Dark, which weakens it to the Lilligant, but so that, at least you have something super effective into it at all times.
Yeah. It does make sense. Like,
yeah. Versus this kind of thing, you would definitely want to spam like Taunt, Trick Scarves, all that stuff. Because it's so annoying from the other side to play into that.
More than Scarf Rotom, I thought about Switcheroo Glalie, same Scarf. It allowed me to click spikes, but I just couldn't reliably spin block. I could have tried spin blocking with Bravery, but it's not the best. Or with Vaporeon, I don't know. So it just didn't, but it just felt like a really uphill battle on prep.
It does look tough. You don't have a whole lot of tools to break through this fat core. Like,
Yeah.
the only thing I really see is trick spam, and that's, yeah, very scoutable from your opponent if they try to do that. Like taunt,
Yep.
encore, trick. Generally the tools that you have against fat stuff. Maybe you could consider like a Calm Mind Braviary, but again, like Terra Dark, Unaware Clodsire kind of shuts that down pretty comfortably. But it's really
Yeah,
tough
and
here.
even then, I just lose to a CM war with Cresselia. Same with CM Vaporeon. That was a consideration.
Yeah.
CM either store power or maybe even I thought about rain dance hydration to help against toxic, get better damage, but that just couldn't kill the Clodsire Cresselia duo. Just couldn't win
Yeah.
against both.
I
Yeah.
mean, what you brought was pretty reasonable, I think. The CB Lilligant, Chapter Vaporeon, Tricky Barb. It's just like the misplay here, just sacking the biggest threat to his team. That was really rough to watch.
I just even Salazzle coming in without boots just died.
Yeah, it's just dead. There's too many multipliers.
So if I got it into yeah, as long as I miss, I mean, as long as I hit, of course, because Hassel is a funny ability.
So I guess it's like recognizing the danger of, Cyclozar into Lilligant. You have switching right here. You just have to give up the spin for it, which you'll have to do anyways. You can't really prevent that.
I just overplayed my hand on that turn.
I think so, yeah. Alright, we can move on to the next one. We could look at maybe the 64 squares one first.
Yeah.
Which is going to be like Terra Okie Dokie, so... Terra Okie Dokie versus this, I would expect to be maybe Terra Ghost, trying to, 1v1 the Lilligant. So I guess it does that anyways, kind of. Maybe you don't need the Terra for it.
Terra Doki didn't feel like the best into me, like it could be into other drafts. I did have it in mind while drafting, but it also doesn't really lose that card. What I did end up bringing was a CM Wish Scald, I think. Astor Power Vaporeon with Terra Poison. That just felt like it won most of the time.
Yeah, does look like it.
Yeah, it has either Doggy or Volcanion to switch up upon. If it's an offensive Volcanion, I just set up on it and basically can win on the spot if I set it up correctly. I also thought that Braviary did have a really good matchup. It's basically Skarmory, Grimmsnarl in the way. Other than that, Stab just eat the position. Whiscash also was oddly kind of threatening because it could here Vaporeon for the set to work kinda really needs to Terra, and then an EQ hurts a lot, and it also was basically their only switching to Rotom in Cyclops too, but doesn't really enjoy getting hit by Volt Switch. But other than that, I mean, they are in all honesty a better player than I am, so I was kind of scared. So yeah, that's most of my thoughts on prep.
Let's take a look, and the Whiscash is brought, and that's over the Cyclozar. Oh, no Cyclozar. That's actually pretty nice for you.
That is quite nice because I don't have to play around it and lose again.
Yeah. Dude, Cyclozar is so good in low tier. But anyways, let's see. Terra types, we have Electric and Poison, planning to poison Terra. The Okie Dokie is just Terra fighting, and then Steel on the Whiscash. So fighting on the Okie Dokie, you'll see like Stab Terra on it a lot when you see like choiced sets.
Yeah.
So I would keep that in the back of my mind. It could be like a Bandit or Scarf Okie Dokie. Versus your team, I would probably more so expect choice banded because you are like naturally faster than the majority of the team anyways. So keep an eye out for that. Donphan leads off into Whiscash. We're just gonna trade rocks here, or attempt to, but we get surfed. And now rocks go up. We just chip this thing. Oh, the spin. Lord plays.
Yeah. I mean, without Cyclosaur, I just rocks just felt really valuable. I don't remember what my planned lead was, but in when I didn't see Cyclosaur, just rocks.
Yeah, just
up.
insta rocks. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the spin off, and then we go Vaporeon.
Yeah. Here, yeah, I forced them to reveal what their switching is.
Yeah. But this is giving up a lot of layers, and your Donphan is not going to be able to spin very easily versus anything. Nothing at all, actually. Like, there's a Mismagius even if you do get an opportunity. And Light Screen Grimmsnarl, so screens, probably Parting Shot, and Spirit Break is going to be a really nice thing here to prevent your special attack from going out of control.
Yeah.
We're just going to Calm Mind here to waste screen turns, it looks like.
Yep. And keep up with a bit of the Spirit Breaks drops.
Yeah.
Because at this point, if they don't answer it properly, if the screens go up, and I kill the Grimmsnarl in the same turn, I basically just win.
Yeah, of course. Alright,
But
Skarn,
obviously
able to
not
Whirlwind,
with
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Misses a Wisp, but not too
Yeah.
impactful.
Yeah. I
Another
agree.
layer goes up, and we miss a Leaf Blade, which definitely is unfortunate. So Lilligant, oh, it's 2 Leaf Blade misses. Alright, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, the first one basically means I die coming back.
Yeah,
So
so
I
you have to
can
stay.
switch out.
Mhm.
And Whiscash, like I said, I mean, it doesn't have EQ, but it means Rotom can't click Volt Switch freely yet,
Yeah.
which is rough.
No, that's
The
just
second one
unlucky.
just,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Braviary comes in, Grimmsnarl in on that. Let's go for an Agility. This thing could be T-Wave. Probably not though, because
Yeah,
it would have T-Waved the Vaporeon.
Yeah, and with screens it kinda can't fit it.
Mm-hmm. Yo, can you hit a move?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was so mad at this game.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So if you can pass it here, that Hurricane basically meant the first one killed the Grimmsnarl, the second one didn't after the special attack drop. With that Grimmsnarl, Vaporeon with Store Power is just free, and I can just set up to the moon and win. So and also there's a Braviary we already set up, so if I kill it, I can still spam Psychic and chip the whole team down like a lot, even through screens. Right now I feel very behind because I missed most of my moves.
100%, yeah.
So, yeah.
Alright, Donphan in, threatening spin. But, yeah, Foul Play just kills you.
Yeah.
How do you win this? Vaporeon 1v6? It's gotta be, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Because we're a Scald Burn, doesn't get it, of course.
Yeah.
That Vaporeon's at
why
full.
would I?
Right. Actually, never lucky.
Yeah, I forced them to Whirlwind. I couldn't just see him. And here I Parting Shot. Vaporeon was meant to CM with Volcanion, so it's just a easy switching. But I get Haunted, and I feel like here I just lose. I can't do anything into Volcanion having that move.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they revealed the 5-spin. I low-key just lost if they clicked it first.
Yo, can we hit one move?
No,
oh my god. Rotom at least... Bro! What?
Even if it's resisted, I still miss it.
Yeah. Okay, but he sacks Volcanion just for the love of the game.
Yeah, that actually gives me an opening, but...
It does.
Yeah, felt a little bit too late.
And then lets the Okie Dokie get burned? Never mind, it's Lum.
Yeah, Yeah, why?
But Terra Poison is going to be able to do something here. Terra Fighting, but 17% from Drain. And you just wall everything, right?
Yeah, I just
Or complete
it
reverse
comes down
6-0.
to yeah, it comes down to this misplays having Calm Mind,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a 50-50. They could still Calm Mind. What I was most worried about was a Destiny Bond, so I just kill it as fast as I can without. I could have wished, in hindsight, it might have been better, but too scared of the Destiny Bond.
Yeah. So now you're saying, can any of these guys kill me at 18%? And the
No, the
answer?
answer is
No.
no. So I just win from here. They forfeit, but obviously not a pretty win. I would have loved to first hit all my moves, and secondly, most
Yeah.
important, ask you what could I have done differently to not rely on my accuracy, because I feel like sure I could have maybe instead of Hurricane or go to a Bravery into the Green Sonal, maybe go to another Mon and try with a 100 accuracy moves, but I just maybe it's the
Alright.
nature of drafting Lilligant.
So here, we spin the rocks. I think something that you could say right here is that this Dawn Fan is pretty useless if you look at the rest of the team. It doesn't beat anything. So you may as well
Yeah.
just get Earthquake Chip on this Whiscash, try to open up your Rotom Heat a little bit nicer, open up your Revavroom. And we don't know that it doesn't have Earthquake yet, so it would also open up your Terra Vaporeon. I think Earthquake Chip would have gone a long way. It also limits him to one layer here, because you threaten spin immediately, and Miss Magius would have to come in to spin block. Either that, or you just keep
Yeah.
spinning forever, and you go down to a Surf, you get Earthquake Chip and spin damage. So this Whiscash would be very low. But here, instead we basically let all the layers go up, which kind of suffocates your Lilligant a little bit. Even though you did miss twice, obviously the second miss was very forced because you died to hazards afterwards. So
Yeah.
there is that. Allowing all these layers to go up probably didn't need to happen, right? The Dawn Fan doesn't have any big value left in it at 38% and slower than everything. So probably would have just stayed in to prevent multiple layers from going up, get your Earthquake Chip in.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Here, probably would have just kept Scalding, to be honest. Getting a burn on this would have been pretty impactful. But Calm Minding here, all it does is waste screen turns. Meanwhile, your Vaporeon's getting quite chipped. You're getting Spadef boosts, but those don't really matter. After +2, you're already basically immortal on the special side. But I think just going for Scald Burns here would have been a better use of your time than Calm Minding repeatedly. And yeah, so if you get a Scald Burn there, it's super nice. Here, Skarm comes in, you're at full HP, just go for a Scald, all good. Doesn't get the burn, of course, but what can you do? Rotom comes in, this should force this out. Whiscash is the obvious switch in. Miss a Will-O-Wisp, which is a fair click, right? I don't hate the
Yeah,
click.
it's basically expecting Whiscash. The only thing I can hit it, and with that, with rocks, not having leftovers, it just meant that's the last switching.
Yeah.
That's the
So
thought behind.
this has already revealed all 4 moves, meaning no Earthquake, meaning Vaporeon could come in and just set up on this forever and ever. The only downside of doing that is you give up max layers. Is that worth it here? Maybe, maybe not. I feel like Lilligant is a perfectly reasonable play right now. Prevent that third spike from going up at least. It makes sense. But then, of course, we miss into miss. And that's just unlucky. I feel like Lilligant probably was your best play available right here. That doesn't change just because you missed. It's just unlucky that the play was reasonable. Braviary comes in here. I think it's probably fine to try to use this as setup opportunity, because what else do you set up on? Skarm Whirlwinds you, Miss Mage's super effective stab, Okie Dokie, faster, kills you with knockoff. Obviously Volcanion also faster and kills you. So it's probably your best opportunity to get the Braviary set up, so I don't hate this. I don't think you had better options for these two. And then obviously relying on the inaccurate moves, it's kind of just the nature of these Pokemon. There's nothing you can really do about that. Are you gonna run air slash? No. Hurricane's much better.
I would still miss air slash in
Yeah.
this game. I feel like.
Yeah. It's like, if I'm being
And
real, this game is just unlucky. Maybe the Rever Room set. I don't know entirely what Parting Shot is meant to do here. What's the idea with the Rever Room sets?
yeah.
Could you do anything better with
Then
this? There is a Scarm, so it's tough.
yeah, River Room just didn't feel like I would ever sweep against this team. So I just pop a utility set. If I remember correctly, it was Taunt. Let me look at this. It was Parting Shot, Iron Head, High Horsepower, and Screech actually. Screech
Screech.
to not let Okidogis switch in, or Skarmory to not have it Iron Defense on me. I just didn't see it ever sweeping this game. So Parting Shotting was just better to pivot around.
Alright. Then Dawn Fan we just sack for fun.
Yeah, I just
Like just in case it
not
lives a
really.
foul play, which I don't think it does. Like,
It doesn't. My play there was not. My misplay was not realizing it had foul play revealed.
oh yeah, it already
Because
used
that
it, yeah.
to kill the bravery.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it lived. But I was too tilted by missing all my moves to notice that.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically my best spin opportunity, but also it wasn't opportunity.
Yeah. And this should be game over. Him sacking this is completely troll.
Yeah, I agree.
And not only that,
Here
letting...
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Vaporeon just wins. Here, you definitely could have wished a little bit earlier here. Like, wish on this turn just feels correct. The thing about stored power is that you just automatically 1v1 every Calm Mind War. Because once you're +6, your stored power is 1 million base power, right? So you don't really worry about a Calm Mind War. I think going for a wish would have been a little bit higher value. Puts you out of this like really danger zone of like, oh, I might get to it KO'd. Like this forces you to stored power this. And then like, honestly, if this Skarm had Brave Bird, you were cooked. If this Grimmsnarl was like it's really just the Skarm Brave Bird that would have killed you here. But like, by making this play, you're saying, oh, maybe the Skarm doesn't have a move. Because Skarm is, potentially faster than this. Can just kill you.
Yeah.
But he was like no attack Skarm or something. Whirlwind, maybe Roost. What even would it be? Body Press, Iron Defense, which I guess wouldn't kill. But yeah.
Yeah. And they did.
Obviously worked out, but could have been a little bit cleaner. But also just very unlucky. What can you do at that point? Alright, and then this last game versus Ninjasker. This one looks a little bit easier on the matchup side. Like these other two have looked a little bit difficult, but this one, like the flying resist is a Tinkatuff and a Kilowattrel, so Hisuian Braviary should be able to do quite a lot this game.
And
Also,
honestly, Reverum also.
Yeah, of course. Like Reverum with just high horsepower hits all of the resists, so that's another strong win condition. And just a lot of strong Pokemon that you have in general. So we can just look at the game, I think.
Yep.
Right, and on the bench we have Drifblim. No, Drifblim's here. Arboliva and what's the other one? Tinkatuff? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't expect them to bench Arboliva with Terra. It felt like the best Reverum response. If they Terra Ground or Terra Water, it just felt good into my team. With Earth Power, just killing the Reverum, it was kind of scary. With a Strength up also.
Yeah.
So that was nice on lead.
Alright. And we look at the Terra types. Terra Psychic on Braviary. This feels maybe a bit ambitious, right? The only thing really stopping you is the Overquill anyways. I guess Hurricane blows that back. I would have expected, like, if you're going for a Stab Terra, to be Terra Flying. Because like the flying resists are generally worse than the psychic resists or like immunities.
Yeah.
Does psychic give you like a
Yeah.
defensive typing versus anything? No, not really. So I think just flying would have been a better, like stronger pick here.
Okay.
Maybe if you wanted to like more rely on the Esper wing setup, then like I could see the Terra Psychic having some merit.
No, it was just for higher psychic damage. I had classic agility roost hurricane psychic set, so it was just for stab damage.
Alright. Alright, Mesprit leads off. Let's see what Terra do they have. A Grass on the Feraligator. So Grass on Feraligator means it's just trying to 1v1 the Vaporeon.
Yeah, and that's the
Why you're Terra
defensive reason
Dragon.
for it. Yeah.
Right. So Rocks trade. This is fine. You're threatening spin here, so Drifloon is kind of required to come in. And you predict that with a knockoff. Really nicely played. Weakness Polys, do you have Ice Shard? Ooh, you don't have Ice Shard.
I took it off last minute because I was like, yeah, Drifloon is not an issue. It won't ever switch in or nothing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Rotom just able to trade with this very comfortably. So yeah, you were right. Drifloon, not an issue. Donphan right back in. And Kilowattrel comes in. So Kilowattrel coming in reveals Boots and misses Hurricane. A lot of missing going on in these replays. Get rid of the Boots. This is fine. Yeah, it does 45, but yeah, you get your spin off now. No more Ghost type. And no one can hit any of their moves. Right.
Yeah, there.
So this is dead to Rocks now, so he's just gonna stay in. Overheat, pretty reasonable. You didn't have anything faster. Rotom's the best Pokemon to take the hits. But now your spinner's dead, so Rocks are gonna go up. Okay, this is a very hacksy set of replays.
Yeah, that's been low tier for me.
Yep, another Hurricane miss. Yeah, just come to expect it at this point. Like, this is another opportunity where, like, Terra Flying would have been just a better pick. You're not weak to knockoff, not weak to U-turn either.
Yeah, that's good. Would have been better. Yeah, I agree.
Alright, Rotom goes down to the Overquill. Now this is setup fodder for your Revavroom, so just gonna, set up here, shift gear. This is threatening an Earthquake. Oh, it's Mirror Herb. Cool tech, but you're still slower. So, yeah.
Not really,
nice,
because
man.
yeah, I thought about that turn a lot because I created the Adamant, so I was slower than Timid Feraligator, but they were also Adamant, which was kind of throwing by having your...
Well, let's see. What do you need? What do you need Jolly for on Feraligator here? Like, everything is slower than like,
I mean,
Max Adamant.
I feel like... Yeah, but if you bring the Mirror Herb into Revavroom, I would expect it to at least be faster than Adamant. But I don't know if I had a better play, knowing I was probably slower still.
Oh no, you can't switch there, I don't think. Just go for it. Yeah, maybe if it was Jolly it could have been tough, but yeah. I don't know, he would have to call out your Revavroom being Adamant, which to be fair, isn't that much of a stretch. He just didn't do that, so all's well. Alright, Ironhead. Was there a reason we weren't high horsepower in this matchup?
I did bring it, I just didn't want to miss first, and it was because it had a better... The way it switched in, I expected a Shuka Berry. So I just clicked it for the flinch chance. It couldn't kill me either way, so yeah.
I guess the question to be had is, could you have just shift geared again and then +2 kills? But I guess you didn't know the bulk on this thing necessarily. Would +2 KO max defense? That could have been a little bit nicer, but either way, you're +1 very threatening.
Yeah, just...
Yeah, like, the +2 would have been a difference maker here to kill the Entei. But I think you're completely winning anyways. It don't matter. Yeah, a Mesprit comes in. Just go for the accurate move. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get it.
at this point, yeah.
Now Lilligant in.
Yeah. This is why we go
Dude.
for the accurate. But yeah, they just give up. So
It just, yeah,
it
never
gave me
stops.
the kill. Yeah.
This one was pretty
Something
reasonable
to-
overall, I think. Not a whole lot wrong with this. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe you didn't need to sack your Dawnfen here, because Rotom can come in on this now that you know it's boots.
Yeah, I mean, Rotom was my dedicated answer for this mon.
Yeah, like right here, we don't need to sack our Dawnfen. We have a Rotom.
Yeah.
Rotom isn't too useful outside of this either. Like, it's dead to Entei and for Alligator at this point, so this is probably your best use case for Rotom. So I would probably just go to it here.
Yeah, and it's the reason why IQ I was fearing a roost, and I didn't want it to be back up alive, even if they took rocks on next entry. I just didn't like that much.
Maybe I could see it, but also I don't think that's a big deal for you. Like, this Kilowattrel is not that threatening. For letting it roost, that would just mean your Rotom comes in for free at 53, and you know, you can just overheat. All good.
Makes sense.
Alright, this T-Wave, pretty nice. Yeah. Using this as a setup opportunity, you're faster and kill, so a silly set from him.
And hit.
Yeah, here maybe a second shift gear was in order, but it's fine. Completely winning anyways. Yeah, pretty reasonable game overall. Definitely the easiest of the three.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to look at this upcoming matchup versus vmnunes.
Yep.
Alright, and this is some fat Blissey Toxapex Wag Shaman plus Defog Talonflame Bombardier, who's the GOAT. Alright.
Yeah, this is kind of similar stories to the Hedja game because they are quite fat style matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am having quite some hard time looking at this matchup, even. Like, yeah.
Okay, so what can you do about this? If you look at it,
my first. Yeah, go on.
What's your big threats here? You have obviously Braviary is a pretty strong Pokemon just in general. You have Lilligant. And not a whole lot else looks super threatening just off rip. Maybe Dawnfan, an offensive Dawnfan looks pretty threatening with stuff like Seed Bomb for Quag, Gunk Shot for Shaman, and then just Earthquake and maybe Rock Slide for Talonflame. That would be pretty threatening overall.
What I've built so far, which is not that much, but I did find that a certain bravery set. Basically, their flying resist is only a Blissey, which is a great bravery answer. But a Hurricane, Life Orb, Sheer Force, just I run the calcs, basically kills every mon not named Blissey.
Yep.
And then I can just Hone Claws to first not miss my moves and also threaten a one-hit KO on Blissey with close combat. That's basically what I've cooked so far, and everything else is just trying to facilitate that set for working.
So it's Braviary plus CC Lilligant, what you're saying? Or does Braviary get CC?
No. Bravery with CC and Hone Claws.
Okay.
Roost and Hurricane. because in all honesty, I just need Hurricane this matchup.
Yeah, that's
and 2 hit.
100% true.
Yeah.
That does seem pretty threatening, yeah.
Yeah. Only issue is a Terra Ghost on DC would be worst case. And just them being faster, maybe T-waving me.
Yeah, T-Wave would be like the thing I'd be worried about.
Oh.
So do you need Terra Flying to break everything? Because you could also consider something like Terra Electric, which would also help into the Talonflame a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the calcs, I really appreciate Terra Flying in most cases for breaking something like Cobalion, Denayoko, stuff like Quagsire, Max Special Defense, I 2-hit KO, but in all honesty, it's not really needed. It's just good, like, making my strong damage be stronger.
Yeah.
But,
does Braviary get, like, Taunt or anything?
I feel like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I could check. It does not.
Alright, let me...
The other option would be like being substitute, but then I have really... I just see it's hard to fit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard. Another thing I thought about was Rotom having what you call this trick with ring target, because that allows me to volt switch on Quagsire, and then they don't really have a volt switching.
Yeah. Here, let me download this image real quick.
Yep.
Put this on the screen, and then we can just go on Showdown. So you're saying like a Terra Flying kind of thing with Life Orb, Sheer Force, and then Hurricane just covers everything not named Blissey, and CC Own Claw's Roost is covering that besides T-Wave.
Yeah, I do need a 120 attack to kill Blissey in one hit.
At +1?
Yeah. Assuming it's max defense, obviously, but it kind of needs to.
Of course. And then the rest would be kind of this,
Modest,
right?
Yeah.
And then you'd be minus Spadef, surely.
I don't. From what I thought, I don't think I need to be not minus speed. I don't think I need any speed benchmark, because that already outspeeds my just min speed Blissey, and that's basically what I need. I think, at least.
Well, Blissey is a Pokemon that can afford to run speed, because the only EVs that super matter on that thing are defense. You know, outside of that, like, if you're missing like 50 HP EVs, it does not make a difference for Blissey. So when I've used Blissey in draft in the past, I've always been pretty aggressive with speed creeping. So I would kind of caution against going minus speed on Braviary. In fact, I would want to run at least a little bit of speed on it, just to catch like a creeping Blissey. Like somewhere around this range here, I think would be pretty reasonable.
Okay.
That's just what I would do personally. Do you have any other techs available? I mean, this does look pretty good, I will admit.
Yeah, other things would be something like stall breaking with psychic noise, but it feels a bit like I would just miss the damage.
Maybe. How much HP do you have? You have over 100 base HP. So what you could do is psychic noise sub. So this guards you against a T-Wave Blissey, and you prevent it from healing. The idea would be you side noise, you sub, you side noise, you sub, you side noise, you sub, and eventually the Blissey will go down. Then of course you're hurting yourself with Life Orb, so maybe that's a little bit sus. Actually, I'm wondering, does Sheer Force prevent Psychic Noise effects? I'm actually not sure on that. Is it a secondary effect in that way? I'm not sure.
Haven't checked, but from what I know, Sheer Force basically works on moves like that
Like
have
the
a
percentage.
percentage. Yeah, like it doesn't prevent knockup from working, for example. So I would expect it to still work, but yeah.
I would also expect that. Another thing you could do is just sub Calm Mind Roost. Like this should be able to set up on Blissey forever.
Yeah, I guess Calm Mind Blissey would wall that, but yeah, it does make sense.
It would, yeah. So there's like a few different options. Like obviously the Hone Claws CC is a cute idea, and then you hit your Hurricanes, obviously, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there's other things that might be better.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my biggest issue with the close combat CC is that I obviously first need to CC or have Blissey chipped. And when I home close, it's kind of predictable that a physical attack is coming.
It's
even
very
if they
obvious.
expect it. Yeah. So they can switch Talonflame, and if I get burned, then Blissey just have a...
Yeah, if you get burned, or also like you'll get the defense drops, right? So all of a sudden the Talonflame is actually threatening real damage on you. You can't exactly stay in afterwards. So that's maybe why I would prefer a sub Calm Mind kind of set. But then again, you're relying on Hurricane accuracy the whole time, which is not the greatest, obviously.
Not proven to be a wise solution.
Yeah, especially how things have been going.
Yeah. Other than that, my other mons kind of look a bit really bad. Bravery does seem to have a good matchup outside of Blissey. The rest, like Reverend, for example, I don't think I'm ever sweeping or really doing any damage in front of an aware Quagsire. I could Toxic it, but then I risk them killing me with EQ.
Yeah, and also Pex just exists, right?
Yeah.
Also so, what are the options for Rever Room? Does get Taunt at least. That's something.
Yeah. Taunt and Toxic are probably some good brings.
Yeah.
But yeah, the damage is just not a lot there.
Maybe you could consider like a sub Endeavor kind of thing. That could be kind of interesting.
That could work. I haven't thought of that. Something like Salakberry, or just straight up Endeavor, assume I'm faster, that type of stuff.
But you'd be faster than everything except for the top 3, right?
Yeah, I would expect so.
So is there anything on your team that appreciates Quagsire being gone? Maybe like a Nasty Plot Rotom would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because Rotom kind of comes in on Blissey. Blissey doesn't really beat it. So being a special threat that Blissey doesn't beat, that could be pretty annoying for them, honestly. And something like a Toxapex, if you're like sub, Taunt, Endeavor, I don't know what your last move would be, but I see you don't really have a single move that is good here. Like this is probably too greedy.
Yeah.
The idea would be you sub down on Quagsire, you Endeavor it, and then your Rotom would go a little bit crazy. And Quag obviously doesn't have a heal opportunity at all versus anything.
Yeah. Quag is also a bit restricted on the moves. I feel like they do want hazards against me, so Spike's recover would be kind of needed. Yeah. EQ just needs it for Reverum, and then it's either Toxic for Vaporeon and Rotom, or Surf for Rotom and breaking up the Air Balloon Reverum.
Yeah, I would very much expect Earthquake Toxic here. You need something for the Lilligant coming in and the Rotom. So just one slot, it has to be Toxic in that case. Probably would expect Fizdef Toxapex alongside, just as the best Lilligant check available. And then obviously a Talonflame as well. Threatening flame body stuff.
Yeah, Lillian, I would appreciate bringing it into Blissey, but the rest of the team just says no. Just I
Yeah.
I don't see myself bringing it into a Talonflame Toxapex matchup, like at all.
I would definitely look at something like this though. Maybe you don't need overheat,
Yeah.
maybe this could be stored power, but this does look pretty strong here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, overheat would be for the Shaman before Etheros. Other than that, I don't really need it.
Yeah. Maybe stored power is
Maybe
better,
to,
maybe not, I don't know.
yeah,
But regardless, Discharge, Pain Split, Nasty Plot, these three should be pretty strong. Last move could be up in the air.
yeah,
You could even make this
yeah,
rest
what I was,
last if you really wanted to. Because what's actually breaking you? Not a whole lot. The water types are weak.
yeah,
You wall
that makes sense.
Talonflame, you wall Blissey.
Something like a Leech Seed on Shaman could be troublesome on Terra Water or Terra Blast, but other than that, I
Yeah.
mean, Terra Blast, Terra Water would die, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely some cool stuff
Yeah,
you could
that
do with Rotom here.
Yeah, I do believe like Rotom is one of my strongest pieces. If I can remove the Quagsire, issue
Yeah.
is that it's not an easy one to remove.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so, at least.
No.
Yeah. What I was thinking, what I was saying before, is that I could try to trick it because it is my the first response to a Rotom I feel. So something like
It should be, yeah.
Sticky Bite or Ring Target could be fine.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea, honestly. I kind of like that.
But yeah, I was running it with Volt Switch, not Nasty Plot. But other than that, yeah, it feels strong. I
Yeah, the only
especially
thing
because yeah,
the only thing I'd be worried about here is you trick on a toxic turn and now your Rotom can't do its job.
yeah, yeah. So it would most likely either hope they hazards like spikes or something, or just or catching in a hard predict, but that's kind of really rough because if I basically have one opportunity.
Yeah,
Other than
so
that, my target would be gone.
one thing I'm noticing with like something like this, where the trick is really nice if you can get it off, but there is a punish available. One thing you could do, especially alongside the Braviary, toss a Healing Wish on there, you get a second chance at one of these guys sweeping. I think that should be pretty strong. Probably stronger than whatever Lilligant can do on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the value Healing Wish specifically, because yeah, healing back up any sweeper, not missing my move, both
Yeah.
are really good.
I mean, you still probably go for Hustle anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe you could make
As
a
much
case
as
for Leaf Guard with like Sunny Day Victory Dance, so you avoid Scald Burns and stuff and Toxics from Toxapex. But it's just gonna haze you after. It doesn't matter.
No, issue is that is just Talonflamer slashes me and I
Yeah, you just lose.
yeah, because I can't even one hit KO it.
Yeah. One thing you could do, maybe spread some para, maybe a sleep powder.
Yeah, I did try and play around with Leech Seed, but yeah, Para could be also really good.
If you can sleep the Talon, that could be pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that also lets me basically go hard into Rotom. I can click Nasty Plot, then they toxic me. I trick them on the Quagsire coming in. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and then I can just kill it. Maybe no, I don't think I kill it because of an hour. But yeah, I could just switch out,
Yeah,
come back
come back
later.
later.
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of like that
but yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Maybe Sleep Powder, Healing Wish, more of a utility Lilligant. And then, I don't know what else. Maybe just CC, because you want that into Blissey and stuff. Strong move in general. And do you have coverage for Talonflame? I think maybe not.
Not really. Like best is neutral damage with ice moves
Mm-hmm.
that invite any burn. So
Yeah, versus Talon, you probably just want to switch against it.
yeah,
One thing you could do maybe is
it's
Defog, because you want Rocks gone for your Braviary and Rotom if possible, but Donphan should be good for the job.
yeah, but maybe I could just have both. Like except I'm just switching on Talonflame and have defog as an emergency click button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
Could also just be
that could
Synthesis
be.
here. Stick around
Yeah.
a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Healing Wish value, but
Yeah, the rest of it is
other
like,
than
I
that,
don't know.
maybe
Nothing seems
yeah,
particularly strong, so feel free to mix and match
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I might
Lilligant
say Leaf
does.
Blade, just dual stab. Gives you something to at least hit the Quag and the Toxapex for decent damage.
Yeah, and probably just boots so I can come in maybe multiple time, maybe another item.
Yeah, I think Boots is fair. We'll put that for now. Just creep base 100. Pretty simple. And then
Makes sense.
we definitely want Donphan. I think Donphan's like one of your best like just raw breakers, just clicking attacks.
Yeah.
EQ, Gunk Shot,
Even though
probably.
rocks do look good here, especially to for one make the Talonflame click defog. I don't think it's quite. I I I can't really feed both Stealth Rock and Rapid Spin and also be an offensive breaker. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I see that. I think maybe we'll end up doing a Spikes Glalie angle with like Taunt Explosion. I think that could be a reasonable way of chipping something and then getting hazard value.
Yeah,
Probably a bit more valuable than anything Revavroom can do.
yeah, makes sense.
You also threaten Freeze Dry into Quagsire if he's like not careful. So I'll probably leave the hazards to Glalie, especially considering, you know, Spikes is just better than Rocks in this matchup unless you can knock off Talonflame, which we can't. So
Yeah,
so this will probably just be what? Spin and then last move. Could be Knock, could be Seed Bomb, could be, you know, Rock Slide, Stone Edge. What's more valuable? We do want to lure the Quag if possible. But Rotom does have the tech available for it, so it's not like a must. Talonflame. If we get rid of Talonflame, then our Lilligant kind of gets significantly better. So I might
yeah, that's
prioritize
true.
Rock Slide in that coverage option. But again, like Seed Bomb is for sure possible to put here. I feel like Gunk Shot probably does a lot to Talonflame regardless. Let's check. Gunk Shot. Okay, against like physically defensive Talonflame, which this will not be quite as phys def. Let's find
Yeah,
out
I would
how
expect.
fast it'll be. It'll definitely be faster than Lilligant, which is going to be 208 speed. And actually, it's more efficient to go Timid. So we'll probably see something like this. So Gong Shot's almost 2-hit KOing. With Poison, it is 2-hit KOing.
Yeah. But then I would need something like Lamb, which does sound not that bad.
You could be Lum. Yeah, this is true. What else could you possibly be? Assault Vest. But I don't
Yeah,
think you really
also.
need to be. Could also just be like Earthplate. Make your earthquakes actually sting quite a bit more into stuff like Blissey and Quag. I'm actually curious on the Earthplate calcs. So we do this into Quagsire. That's decent chip.
Yeah. Especially, yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, yeah, Quagsire is most likely full fisted, so it's not bad damage. Then I could afford my Rock Slide instead of Seed Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if does this calc factor in a metronome? That could be a cute idea.
I mean, they do have two flying types, and Bombardier is oddly kind of good against me, so
yeah.
they. But yeah.
I think probably Earthplate would be my choice here with Rock Slide coverage.
Yep, makes sense.
You could definitely Seed Bomb here or make this a different
Do I
item.
ever go speed on this? However, like
I would want to be
outspeed.
faster than Blissey if possible. Do you need HP? Not really. Your natural bulk is going to do what it does. Maybe I match the speed on my Braviary. So if one of them outspeeds the Blissey, you know that the other one's going to as well.
Yeah.
Maybe something like this could be reasonable. I don't think you go Banded here. Maybe you could.
No, that's it's rough to log into.
It's
anymore.
yeah, hard to click a move like completely freely. So yeah, I think Earthplate is pretty reasonable here. And then maybe you would also want to do Defog here, but yeah. I do like the idea of Glalie just spiking. We'll probably wrap this up pretty soon, but like Freeze Dry, Explosion. It doesn't get Explosion this gen. Self-destruct? No.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough, man.
No. I realized like prepping for another match. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. Maybe Taunt. And then, I don't know, man.
Probably just Earthquake for catching a Cobalion. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe just a switcheroo with like a scarf or something. So you kind of make something hate its life and then you start spiking. That could be useful.
Quick Scarf, yes. Yeah. I was also thinking Trick Scarf on Trick Band
Trick
version.
Banded with like
But that's
what's your good ice stab move?
version
Icicle Crash?
on
Yeah.
physical, yeah.
That's probably just gonna get walled out by Toxapex, no? I guess with Banded EQ you can kind of threaten it, but it's just gonna regen that off. Yeah, I don't know if Glalie is quite strong enough.
Like a banded Persian, just to have a better matchup on Blissey. Like Alolan Persian could kill with knockoff Choice Band, and other than that, if I don't, it's kind of a similar idea, just doesn't have spikes.
Mm-hmm. Well, Persian's definitely good for removing items if you wanted to do like a knockoff set.
Oh,
I wonder if there's something you could do with like a nasty plot taunt.
like technician kind of set.
Yeah. Taunt the Blissey. And then you have Technician with let's see. I know it gets Shockwave in old gens, which is just T-Bolt but worse, to be honest. So just run T-Bolt. But something
at
to
that
hit
point,
Pex.
T-Bolt, D-Pulse probably, and just run for code.
Is Snarl better than Dark Pulse with Technician? 55 times 1.5. It's a little bit stronger, 82.5.
Yeah.
I don't know, this might be a little bit ambitious. Like, you're pretty weak. 75 special attack. I don't know.
The issue is benching Reverum opening up T-spikes on Toxapex, or not really?
It could be,
Because
to be honest, yeah. So maybe you kind of forced to bring the Revavroom.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
that's my biggest question, like the rest, is so to this Rotom, for it to win, what would I need to do, like in game?
Well,
For something
you
like
need to either kill or trick the Quag. And then after that, not a whole lot else on your checklist. Maybe Bombardier. But you can be faster than Bombardier if you want to.
Yeah, most likely. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you just need to trick the Quag and put it in range of discharge. And then, honestly, once you get that +2, it looks like a sweep. I don't know what else they're supposed to do about it, really. Maybe Shaman plus Cobalion can, like, do it, but you wall Shaman pretty hard. And Cobalion body press, it's a strong move, but that's the only strong move you have to worry about with this Rotom.
Yeah, makes sense.
So how much does Quag take from offensive Rotom? Heat. And this would be ring target. Discharge is doing a lot. Maybe we just make this T-Bolt, honestly. Yeah, Thunderbolt, you just need a spike up.
Yeah.
That could be pretty good. And not only that, you're stealing its leftovers or boots. That's like double value. But yeah, once you get the trick off, I think this set might just completely 6-0. You can be timid to outspeed Bombardier. You'd only be worried about a Scarf. You're walling Talonflame, you're walling Shaman for the most part. Maybe Leech Seed could be annoying. And then like maybe a Terra that walls you. Would it run Terra Ground here? I don't think so. That doesn't seem viable.
But even then, I feel like Terra Grass, like Stain Terra Grass, could be annoying with Leech Seed.
Yeah, staying Grass type would be the most annoying thing for you. Maybe a Calm Mind Blissey would also be annoying. That's like the only things you gotta worry about though.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if Shaman stays a Grass type, then that should open up your Braviary, right?
Yeah, or the other way around, like bringing in Bravery kind of forces them to either Terra or switch out. So if they click the Terra, which
Then
might be
business.
Terra Ground, yeah, which might be Terra Dark again, Terra Steel to resist both stabs.
I could see a Terra Dark. I could also see, yeah, Steel. Both of them lose to Rotom, so I'm not too concerned about it either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It does seem pretty reasonable, this Rotom set. And he's not going to expect this Trick Ring target.
I would expect them not to expect it, otherwise I would be...
Otherwise, they watch the video. No, the video's
Yeah.
not going up till after the
Yeah.
game.
Otherwise, it would be someone would have it leaked, and I would not
That'd be
happy
unlucky.
for it.
Yeah. So 290
Yeah.
speed is all you need. A little bit of HP never hurt nobody.
Yeah, and even then I think I heal back up like at 50 with pain split against the Blissey, so I'm not.
Oh, you healed to
really that
full,
worried.
like completely to full.
I mean, I deal like half with a little HP.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Team looks solid.
Yeah.
I like it.
Rev Room, just do whatever here. You can really do whatever. This set could change, but I'm pretty confident in these four.
Yeah, the Donphan said it's probably the one I was mostly struggling with, like
Yeah, it does.
feeding
It
all
wants a
moves
lot of
was rough.
moves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go and do a game with like zero hazard pressure, so I think Spikes clearly kind of fills that role.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's all we really need to go over. Rev Room, I don't really care, honestly, what set this is.
Yeah.
Not gonna make a huge difference either way. Maybe you go for the Endeavor into the Quag. Could be a cute idea. Or just, you know, shift gear like leftovers kind of thing. So that with like high horsepower, maybe the Pex is a little bit more challenged to 1v1 you, but still Quag exists. Maybe you run Toxic then. You can Toxic the Quag, that could be useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe something like stab move, whatever it is. What would it be? Probably Dunk, yeah. High horsepower,
Otherwise,
shift gear, Toxic. So if the Pex, if the Pex is the answer, then you kind of wall it back. Like this can be a pretty bulky set, I think. You don't need a ton of speed.
yeah. With shift gear, I don't think I need much to outspeed a Talonflame.
Yeah,
Especially if they
alternating
quickly-
shift gear high horsepower should be able to outstall the Tox Pex quite easily with a set like this. Like there's only 8 recovers. So eventually the Quag will be forced in. And if you can catch the Quag on a switch with the Toxic, awesome. If not, yeah, you have your Lilligant here.
Yep. Gives me more pressure, like
Mm-hmm.
On the team. Yeah, like that.
Maybe if like Lilligant is the defensive answer to Quag like that, maybe you would prefer Synthesis over like close combat, but or like over Sleep Powder maybe, but this is probably fine. Alright. And this EV spread doesn't need to be final, you can tweak whatever. But I'll just send you this paste of ideas. Use whatever you want. And then when you actually play the game, let me know, send me the replay, we can go over it.
Yep. Makes sense, makes sense.
Alright, that's going to be it for this part of the video, and we'll cut to after the game is played. And we are back. So this is the final paste that we ended up going with. You changed the Rotom to be slightly bulkier, it looks like.
Yeah, basically allowed me to leave 3 lefties, 3 seismic tosses after lefties.
If you do trick the lefties,
but
okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
Just a little bit. And
Yeah.
then Reverum was for special defense. This was for speed to outspeed a Scarf, a Bombardier if it came, after
Okay.
plus 2. Just
That's kind of funny.
for
You only need
speed,
4. That's actually super funny.
that allowed me, so yeah, why not?
All right, and then
I
Glalie.
almost run. Yeah, yeah. Glalie was just outspeed something on with Scarf, but most of the time I was just trading it. The special attack gave me enough power to get some 3-hit kills going on Toxapex, but really
All right, sounds
in
good.
all
Yeah.
honesty, it barely mattered.
Other than that,
I
team.
almost changed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I almost changed Defog over Leaf Blade on Lilligant and Sab over Toxic on Reverum. Gave me a better time onto Toxapex, like a better time. But yeah, Toxic just felt like a better click on Quagsire. I could have even traded for one Toxic. It could have been game winning, so just felt
Yeah,
better
yeah.
for it not to click recover every time it came in.
But you also like don't need sub versus Toxapex because
Yeah.
it can't toxic you, and it lost knockoff and scald. So Surf is doing like what 20% maybe,
Yeah.
not enough.
Yeah.
That's why the Black Sludge is so important for this set. But anyways, this is the final paste, and the game is right here. So let me just get my dimensions all good for this, and that's close enough. All right. So as you can see, there is no Toxapex, which is a little bit surprising, right? And then what else was benched? The Rabska. So you don't have to worry about any revival stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's nice. No Toxapex immediately means that our Rev Room should be able to get a Toxic on the Quagsire pretty consistently. So that is pretty nice. What else does no Toxapex mean? Our Lilligant is a bit better.
Slightly better Lilligant matchup. I mean, if Talonflame ever goes down, Lilligant can just win.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing much, I'd say. Toxapex was never one of the most problematic Pokemon for me.
Yeah, it's also something that can't really toxic your Braviary, so that's also nice. Alright, let's get into the game. We see Terra Ghost on the Shaman, and Terra Dark on the Blissey, so they did prep for like a Psy Noise type of thing. Makes sense. Now Glalie leads into Bombardier, he's forced out into Cobalion, so this gets tricked a Scarf, pretty nice. That means it can't Iron Defense Body Press, which is the main thing that Cobalion excels at. So scout the Body Press, and then now we go hard to Braviary. And this is nice, you get your Hone Claws attack boost here. Blissey obviously going to come in, and it doesn't even have a defensive Terra versus this because it's dark. So this is a really nice, this set working out. You find the setup opportunity, bang, really nice. Now Bombardier in, because of the defense drops, we're forced out, the threat of knock, all that stuff. What's the best switch in to this Bombardier right now? Maybe Glalie?
Yeah, Glalie was something I considered, but I was mainly fearing a rock move, probably. Maybe rock,
that's
or
fair.
Straight up rocks. Yeah, because Donphan is kind of hard to switch into a knock, because I could die after it. It lets them U-turn and all that stuff.
Yeah. So we go Rev Room. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And now here...
I make an aggressive switch, fearing a Drill Run, but they get up rocks.
Okay, and then now... This is like... Okay, so Rev Room there, I think it was pretty free to go for like a Toxic there, to be honest. You either hit the Bombardier or the Quag coming in, and both are really good for you. So I think Rev Room could have stayed in. If it is Drill Run, that's more information, and honestly Rev Room isn't the most important thing in the world. If it does just have a Drill Run, then it's probably like an offensive set, I guess. In which case it would die to Rotom T-Bolt afterwards, so the follow-up is still there. And then here we get our ring target knocked, which means now this tech doesn't really work, because obviously Quag is just going to hard wall us now. We don't have that trick option. So unfortunate. So how could we have avoided that, right? Here, this turn, T-Bolt definitely is a better play. The only downside of T-Bolt would be if they go hard Quagsire, in which case nasty plotting doesn't make a difference because obviously it's unaware, right? So either way, you're trading a trick in the next turn for maybe a toxic on you. So
yeah, and even then,
a bit of a greedy nasty plot, where it's like if you think 2 turns ahead, the nasty plot doesn't really make sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we lose our Rotom Tech, and now Quagsire walls forever. Here, honestly, you probably could have even doubled to Lilligant at that point. Like, the Quagsire is 100% coming in there. It's not going to just sack Bombardier when you have a hard counter, and the tech is already revealed and it's broken.
Yep.
But yeah, Lilligant comes in now on the Toxic, threatening a Leaf Blade, so Talonflame forced to come in here. You just hit that with a Sleep Powder. That's why we brought it. Very nice. And now this is our spin opportunity, so Donphan comes in immediately on the sleep turn, and this is really nice. I like this. Get your spin before the Shaman turns Ghost, importantly. And now, Donphan versus Shaman, what can you do this turn? So obviously it's threatening like Seed Flare type of stuff. We're just gonna sack our Donphan, which feels maybe a little bit unforced. Right, we had a Rotom right there, which is completely useless. If you're gonna sack something, it should be the Rotom, right?
Yeah, probably. What I didn't like about that was probably just letting Quagsire in for free, get up some layers, maybe a bit harder to spin a second time. I just liked, for one, forcing the Terra. Made it so if I get rid of Quagsire other ways, maybe the Rotom can do something. But yeah, that turn was probably not it for me, but it was a hard turn, I think.
It was like, if this Bombardier is defensive, which Knock Rocks it looks like it should be, then Donphan can come in on that and, you know, either threaten this with a Earthquake on the switch to Shaman trying to spin block, or just go for a Gunk Shot Poison. It's like a better Pokemon here than the Rotom at this point.
Yeah, probably.
This is just something to consider. Now Braviary comes in, and they just switch to Bombardier, and you Terra Flying to get rid of that Ghost weakness in case it's Terra Blast, and you miss Hurricane. Very on brand.
Yeah.
Right? It just keeps missing.
I agree.
So that would have just knocked out the Bombardier just raw from full, because you still have Life Orb. But unfortunate, rocks do end up going up. Now here, Revavroom's in. Again, you have a very free Toxic, I think. They go Quagsire. Do you hit the Toxic? You shift gear first. Okay. And now you have to sack the Revavroom to get the Toxic off, which is a little bit unfortunate, right?
Probably not needed.
Now Glalie to force this out with the threat of Freeze Dry, get a Spike up. Yep, there we go, some Hazard Pressure finally. And now Glalie just goes down to Body Press. So we're sacking a lot of Mons very quickly here. But what this does do is locked into Body Press because it's Scarf, so now Braviary can come in and force the issue with Hurricane. Bombardier comes in, as we just, you know, roost up, take the opportunity to be full HP, get our Life Orb knocked off, and now you're going to see, with the Life Orb intact, it would have just freaking died. So yeah, that first miss did matter quite heavily. But now it reveals not to have any rock coverage, so Knock U-turn Stealth Rocks. I don't know what the last would be. Does it get Roost? Probably does. Talonflame wakes up, but 33 is doing nothing, and I have a feeling that crit did not matter. Like Sheer Force, Hurricane, Terra Flying, there's no way. Shaman comes in, but we're not really forced out by this either. Yeah, I could just roost this off and go for another Hurricane, I think. Goes for an Air Slash, gets a crit, but you do connect the Hurricane, which does quite a lot of damage. Now that Braviary is very low though, especially after rocks. So Rotom comes in, sack this off. And now Lilligant has to come in. And we could just kill this, right? With Leaf Blade? Yeah, Leaf Blade does knock this out. And then you have the potential to Healing Wish, which is really nice. Bombardier comes in because he thinks he loses to Lilligant, but we have a better path of Braviary not risking Hustle misses, right? Because you can Hone Claws here and hit your Hurricanes.
Yeah, when I can miss, I will probably miss, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
better.
I very much agree with this home clause here. And now there's like there's no bravery response. Like heavy slam, sure that does a lot, but this Bombardier revealed it's walled, so all you need to do is roost
Yeah.
just out of range of Bombardier, and you'll be fine. So bravery does end up winning this. A really clutch healing wish.
Yeah.
Maybe the early
Yeah,
game, the early to mid game was maybe a little bit rougher on the edges, but we did manage to set up a win condition with the bravery, and it's just unstoppable.
Yeah, I just rushed the game. I don't think I had to play that fast, even though I'm playing against a bulkier build. I do think I had more time that I felt like during the game. I felt like I needed to win now instead of waiting for the right opportunity.
Yeah. Maybe there's something to be said that after the Cobalion goes down here, the Bombardier's in. It's probably better to just close combat this. If it roosts, it's super effective, and Hurricane can miss with the +1 accuracy. It's pretty accurate, but not 100%, so it would have been slightly more accurate of a play to make. But yeah, Hurricane lands. Yeah, overall pretty nice. I think really the main thing is letting the Rotom take the knock. It like basically means we have to go all in on Braviary rather than having two setup threats to play around. This was really nice. Exactly what the tech is for. But here, this is also just a free toxic no matter what. If he stays in, it gets toxic. If he switches, it's going to be to Quag, like guaranteed. So toxic kind of covers everything. You could say Drill Run. I don't think Drill Run was necessary here. You could have calced the knockoff damage to see if it's offensive actually. Did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, not that turn. I did it when afterwards on on Bravery, and it wasn't offensive. That roll was on a offensive Bravery, on no item on Bravery. I'm sorry, I mixed it up. And it just dealt nothing. So yeah, it was quite defensive.
So defensive Bombardier, probably going to be carrying rocks. So knock rocks. And then like, do you fit Drill Run? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not really.
So yeah, like this is the main mistake that I saw. Like that really sucked. That being said,
Yeah, that also.
I don't know. It's a bit risky from his side.
Yeah, but I just didn't need to play that aggressively. I feel like going Rotom at all was maybe a choke because I don't kill from full.
Yeah, if it is Spadef.
Even if it's not, I think they can still live, so it's not really threatened. I can just have discharge instead of T-Bolt and then I definitely not kill, like viewing from their side. So maybe I felt like they were more pressured than they were really in that spot.
I don't know. If I'm them, it's kind of a whack play to stay in the first place, if I'm being completely for real. Like, you have a Quagsire for that reason. I would have expected Quag to come in. But still, like, the risk was not worth it on your end.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a risky play on them, but that doesn't mean I have a free play on my end.
Yeah. Alright, the rest of it... Lilligant Sleep Powder, really great. Donphan coming and spinning, really great. Then now Braviary getting an entry point. Should have been rewarded with a KO, but of course, your luck this tournament has not been fantastic, and that continues with this turn 15. What can you do? Yeah, here, this probably should have been a toxic as well. It's like a very similar situation to previously. So, not gonna beat a dead horse with that. And that costs you your Rever Room, and then now Glalie comes in, Cobalion comes in, but now like you don't have a body press switch in. So like you're losing mons very quickly off the back of a few like mispredictions, one might say, and you're paying the consequence by, you have 3 Pokemon dead like very quickly back to back. Fortunately, Braviary's God, so yeah. that's
the
gonna be it.
reason you're online this guy. So
Yep.
just
Alright.
to win the 6 so.
Yeah. That's gonna be it for the video. Thanks for joining me. This was a good time. I don't really go over low tier very often, so it's nice change of pace there.
Yeah, it's been quite a fun tournament. It's been quite a haxy one too. Well, yeah.
I hope you make it far in the tour. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I hope.
If you made it to the end of the video, leave a like, of course, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Up to 5.